I am Marlene Motivates, and I am your life coach. I hope you guys can hear me. Let me make sure my volume's up now. I hope everybody's doing amazing. Thank you guys so much for being here. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday to everybody. And I wanted to say that this topic was chosen by Sirius, and I see her in the chat. How are you doing, Sirius? Thank you so much for your super sticker, and also thank you for choosing today's topic. I hope that this will be helpful. Hey, Raining Bubbles, how are you doing? Welcome in, everybody. Thank you guys so much. So today's topic is immense bitterness after a breakup, and some tools to recovery. Okay, how to deal with it, basically. So first off, I want to say, after a breakup, you have to give yourself the permission to feel how you feel. You're good? Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm doing great. So you have to give yourself that permission to feel how you feel. And, it's a journey. That's what I'm going to say. Getting over a breakup, especially somebody that you really cared about, someone you invested in, someone you poured into, it's going to take some time to heal. And the journey towards that forgiveness of it and that healing, it's not easy. I'll tell you that, because we don't always want to heal, you know, if it wasn't something that we actually wanted, if we were broken up with. It's a different thing than when you were ready for it, you were preparing for it, and you said it's time to end it. But when somebody ends it with you before you were ready, that's a whole nother process. But I want to tell anybody who is watching right now and they're going through this bitter breakup, okay? I want you to understand that it's okay to be bitter, to feel bitter, and to be angry right now. A lot of times we feel that we shouldn't feel angry. We shouldn't be bitter, that we're supposed to always hold it together. You're supposed to show your best face forward, because that's what you do when you're mature. You hold things together. You don't share how you feel, but it's very opposite than that. When you go through a breakup from somebody that you really loved, whether it was a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or whether it was your husband or your wife, it's going to impact you. And whatever you need to do, in this moment, I'm saying to all my brothers, to all my sisters in this struggle, because it is a struggle, to be able to process it in your mind. And I want you to know that it's okay to be angry. You're gonna be angry for a while, especially if there was some sort of deception, there was some sort of cheating involved. You're going to be angry for quite a period of time. Or if you feel that that person withdrew from you or ghosted you, that's going to come with some pain and some anger. And you're going to feel bitter. You're going to ask yourself the questions of why did this happen to me? Okay, we're always going to internalize that. And then the one thing that I don't want anybody to do when you go through a breakup is to blame yourself. I'm not saying don't assume accountability. We're going to get to that in a little bit. But we're not going to be in the stage of saying, why me? Why me? Why me? What did I do? Basically taking on the things that they did to you. See, we're going to be over here accountable for our actions, and we're also going to talk about them being accountable for theirs. So the things that they did is not right. You know, we could be in a relationship for a very long time, and we do not let ourselves process that. Okay. Sirius says, is anger the last stage? Actually, anger is the second stage. It's the second stage in the process. And we're going to start talking about that. The 5 stages of grief in a breakup. The first one is denial. Because let me tell you something. When you go through a breakup, the first thing is, oh, you're not leaving me. You are not leaving me. I can't believe it. How could you do this to me? The denial And then because you can't believe it, then it's going to go into the next stage, okay? Hey, Nate, how are you doing? Welcome in. Appreciate you being here. Hey, Realist, how are you doing? Welcome. Happy Thursday. So that's the first stage, okay? The first stage is that denial period. And in the denial period, it is definitely the time where you're going to be like, I can't believe this is happening to me. Now, I can't believe this joker did this to me. Like, it's just mentally processing, like, what happened, you know? And you start asking yourself, what went wrong? What went wrong? Was it me? Was it them? Why did they do this to me? Why? It's so much of that. And in that denial period, you will not be assuming any responsibility. You know, this is the time where you'll be blaming them 100%. They did this and they. You're always pointing fingers in this stage of denial because, of course, we always want to make it seem like we're perfect. And why, no matter how much it hurts, none of us is perfect in any relationship. You know, we all do things to hurt one another in romantic relationships. But that denial, like the realization that this is real, that it's final, okay, it's over between us. That denial is something really hard to process. And this is usually the time where a lot of people develop a lot of depression, sadness, feelings of worthlessness. And this is the time where I want to say to all my motivators family, this is the time where you need to get poured into. Pour into your self-care, pour into giving back to others, but you need to keep yourself busy because when you experience a breakup, the pain in your heart, it kind of will stop you from taking care of yourself. You just let yourself go, like stop taking care of your hair, your everything. You don't care. Your room is a mess. Everything gets like discarded. Like you don't care in that denial period. You don't care about anything, about anyone. You don't want to talk to anybody. You isolate yourself. You withdraw from everybody else, and because you need to mentally process what is happening or what happened to you. So there's that part. And but I would recommend, when we feel this way, when we feel like in this denial period, this extreme sadness, we really need, this is the time where you really need to lean on people who really love you. And you may not be ready to talk about what you're feeling because you don't even know what you're feeling initially, but it's very important to have people that you can lean on. Even if you just have somebody, you just sit with somebody and they hold your hand, or you put your head on their shoulder, but you have to have somebody to be your support system when you are weak, because this is the time, unfortunately, I hate to say it this way, but some people get to the point of that denial part where they want to unalive themselves. They don't want to be here because of a relationship just didn't pan out and work out, and especially if it was a relationship where kids were involved and now they feel like the brunt, now I'm gonna have to be a single parent, yada yada yada. Okay, so that's the first point, that is that first stage of the denial. It's a tough one. That's the time where you usually see people, they're in their pajamas. I'm in my pajamas stage. I'm not going anywhere, where you're in the house watching movies and eating ice cream, crying, and yeah, that's a tough hump to get over. And I can't tell you how long that stage is going to last, because everybody is different. Some people it's a few days, some people it's a few weeks, some people it's months, or it could be years. It depends on how long the relationship was, and if the relationship was traumatic. Okay, Realist says he's chatting with Sirius. Realist says, don't let a result that was actually a blessing in hindsight keep you down. Yeah. Yes, I get that. Realist says, even if it takes time to realize. And it does. It's one of those things that when it happens to you, it doesn't matter what your age is. You could be from your 18 and you could be till you're 90. everybody deals with things differently. And when you really love somebody fully and purely, and it was like you were run over, especially if you were blindsided, like you didn't see the breakup coming, that can be wow. Or especially if you were probably planning for a future with this person, and then you're like, okay, this was not in the plans. But like realist says, don't let that results of a breakup keep you down, you know. Hi Susanna, how are you doing? Welcome. And it does take some time to realize. I want everybody who is watching right now, and if you're currently, you just went through a breakup, or you're still dealing with, you know, that breakup blues and pain, you have to give yourself time, patience, okay? You have to be patient with yourself. Sirius says you have to detox, clear out the old feeling, and start over. Yep. And it's one of those times where I would always recommend that you don't rush yourself. Don't let anybody, don't let your relatives, don't let a job, don't let anybody, don't let social media. You have to take your time and process it as long as you need to. So if you need to shed those tears, shed them. If you need to scream at the top of your lungs, for me, I'm the type of person after a breakup, it's my time where I have to start getting rid of stuff, and that can be a hard thing, like deleting pictures, removing items from my closet that I wore in the relationship. Certain things like we hold on to certain things that remind us of that person, and it's very hard to delete it like it didn't happen, because we know that it happened. But in order for us to move forward and move onward, we have to remove those memories from our life. We have to stop looking at their pictures, stop watching romantic movies and crying over the shoulda, woulda, couldas. That's the denial part. We stay at that stage, and they're not the only person in the world. I hate to say it like that, but it's the truth. Just like you met that person, you can find somebody else. And especially most of the time when we break up with somebody, they were never good for you from the beginning. If you really go and you look and you start putting, you know, write down your pros and your cons about the relationship, most of the time you were settling. Okay, you were settling. You didn't vibe well. There was a lot of issues in the relationship. You felt like you were always the person to compromise, and that person never compromised for you. So it's a lot of things that we have to really look and be honest with ourselves. And in that denial period, we don't want to hear it, we don't want to see it, but all we feel is the pain. It's all we feel is pain. Nate says, heal yourself mentally and spiritually. Yeah, it's something that, you know, you have to get in your mind. And it's one of those things that you got to tell yourself it's going to be okay. Even if when you don't understand, it's your time to also cleanse and give yourself the opportunity to say, it's my time to reset and get back to me. Because sometimes, I don't mean all the time in all relationships, but I'm just talking about sometimes some things that can happen, and that is we lose ourselves in a relationship trying to be supportive and encouraging and there for them and all of those things, that we stop doing the things that we wanted to do. We stop working on our goals and our life, and that's not a good thing. Realist says, for some, a way of coping is to jump onto the next moving thing. Yes, and that is where you get into real problems. Now, I'm not saying, everybody, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't get into another relationship, but everybody needs some time to process it, some time to actually say, was it me or was it them? What did I do in the situation? But we're going to get into that in a little further in the discussion. Realist says, which can lead to another toxic situation. Right. You have to give yourself the time and the room to process, okay? Okay? And we don't want to jump from one relationship to the other until we're healed. And well, the reason why I say that is because sometimes you'll just be like, yes, I'm over, I'm free from that person. But then when you haven't worked on what hurt you, you haven't asked yourself, why did I choose that person? Why did I think I deserved that person? And what is it that drew me to them? Was it something I was looking for them to fill a void from whatever, your mommy issue, your daddy issue, your sibling issue? And those are the things that we need to fix and heal in ourselves before we should move on to another relationship. You need to ask yourself, why did I choose that person? And moving forward, how can I do better? That's a very important conversation to have with yourself, and you need time to process that and to really come up with the answer. Why did I choose them? And why did I stay in that relationship for that period of time? Okay. Now let's get to the second stage of grief after a breakup. The second stage is whoa, it just dropped. It just disappeared. All my notes just disappeared. Okay. So the second stage of grief is anger. So here you go, serious. I remember thinking, just as you did, that anger was the last stage of a breakup, and it's not. I was surprised to learn that anger is the second stage of a breakup. Okay. So first you're like denying why did this happen to me? Why did they do this to me? And then here comes the anger. Now you're like, and this is where you're going to insert some explicitives like, how dare they? Could they do this to me? And they're this, and then you start talking about them, and they were never this and they were never that. And so it's your time. Okay. Just like the title says, immense bitterness. This is a time where you're going to be very, very bitter. You're going to be very bitter about, how could they do this to me? And I did this and I did that, and I was such a good person. See, when we break up, we only can see, okay, what we did. But if we're 100% honest, every relationship has its ups and its downs. Nobody does anything perfectly. And what is important in the relationship is to look for what was good in the relationship and what was bad. And in moving forward, if you so choose to look for a relationship when you feel happy, healthy, and healed, the 3 H's, this is when you make sure that you are not expecting your ex from the next person, or when the next person that you're seeing will bring up something, that's just like my ex, that's just like my ex, that's just like my ex. So until you heal from your previous relationship, you should never just jump into another. Give yourself some time, some loving kindness and some compassion, and just sit in it and marinate on it, go through it in your mind. Okay. And tell yourself, right now, it's okay for me to be by myself. Now is a good time for me to heal and work on myself. Some personal growth, some loving kindness. It's some time for my spiritual connection. It's time for some meditation and working on some of the goals that I had before I met them. Get back into your life. But let's get back into talking about this anger. Now, don't get me wrong, everybody. Everybody's going to be angry after a breakup, but we shouldn't let ourselves stay in that anger so long that we start doing things like wanting to bring physical harm to the ex. Okay. Now, I'm not going to even lie to you. When it's a breakup and they did something that really hurt you, that's the first reaction. I'm going to jack them up. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get them back. I'm going to tell their business. But then you say, hold on there. Okay. I'm more mature than this. I know better. I am better. And I don't deserve that. Hey, Boss Life Online, how are you doing? Welcome. And you have to tell yourself, I don't deserve this. and you don't. You deserve way better than that. So I wanted to say, while you're going to be angry, while you're going to be like, yes, they did this and they did this, but also at the same time, we have to find a healthy outlet for that anger. Get into doing some things that is good for us. Journaling, seeing a therapist, going to a counselor, volunteering your time, getting back into whatever fills up your cup spiritually, spending time with friends, giving back to others, getting into your goals and your talents. See, for me, that's one of the things that is so important when you go through this terrible breakup. It's that anger isn't going to go away right away. It's going to take some time for you to process it and heal from it. But also at the same time, you can't just stew in that anger thinking they did this, they did this, they did this. That will give you some mental health issues, that will affect you physically, where your blood pressure is going to go up, and so many other things. It's going to affect your sleeping patterns. You're going to be snapping at other people. So we have to find a healthy way to take what is going on here, like how the emotions, our mental health, how it has impacted us financially, so many things. We need to start writing that down, how we feel. What did we do? What did they do? What could have is there something, if any, that I could have done to change it? And then giving yourself the permission. And it's something like I call it like a end of relationship disclosure, saying, like, insert your name. Hi, Marlene. I did my best in this relationship. And I give myself the permission to say, well done. You did everything that you could personally do. Now it's time for you to work on you so that you can be your best self, because that's what ultimately this is about. When you break up, you get back to you. So to all my ladies, all the gentlemen, all my motivators family, I want you to get back into doing the things that fills up your cup, the things that satisfy you, getting into your passions, getting into the things that bring you joy in your life. That is so important. Hey, Tamika, how are you doing? Welcome. Happy Thursday. Sirius says sometimes people use the cuffing season, whereas you are looking for a short-term relationship to mend the past relationship that caused you the bitterness. Yeah, this is the time where what do they call those? The I can't think of it right now. It just went in and went out. But basically, like Sirius was saying, you just go from one relationship to another, and it's not like you have a commitment. You don't want to have a commitment with that person, but it's one of those things that you want to get in a relationship right away to be like, yeah, I still got it. I could still pull them, to get your confidence back, to make sure that you're still attractive. You're still everything that you need to be. Okay. Hey, Glenda, how are you doing? Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. So this is the time where instead of going and trying to find somebody, this is the time where you need to be working on healing that anger. And like I said, the journaling, seeing a therapist, getting back, even, hanging out with your friends. It's not that you're going to go with your friends, be crying on their shoulder every time, but you need to get back into a normal life, a normal routine, and find out what your life is as a single person once again. Okay? That's so highly important. Let's go on to the next part of the 5 stages of grief. And the third stage is bargaining. Now, this is one that is kind of, it's kind of a little bit difficult when we talk about the 5 stages of grief. And hold on a second. Just got an email that I have to answer. It's one of those things that we have to do some bargaining in our mind, because it helps us to be able to cope. It's like a coping mechanism. it's like, okay, am I going to do this or am I going to do that? And maybe before, when you were in that relationship, it was something that you didn't even think about. You had choices, right? And I know that that was like me. I was that way because I'm definitely the person in the relationship that is always like, okay, okay, whatever you want, what makes you happy. But when you get back to you, when you start to find yourself, and the issue can be sometimes is in a relationship you were never yourself because that probably wasn't the right person for you to begin with. So you bargain. Okay, thank you so much, Sirius. That's one of the things, you bargain who you really, oh, I should have done this, and why didn't I do that, and if I did this, then maybe we would still be together, and this, and what about that? Those are the times where you start in your mind thinking, what could have I done better, what could have I done better? And you start saying, um, I should have said this, or maybe if I would have spent more time together, and maybe if I would have done this. And it's also the time where a lot of people start stalking their ex, calling them, texting them, hey, let's get back together, I miss you, in the bargaining stage. Okay, that is the time where there's a lot of anxiety that comes up. Okay, hey Estad, how are you doing? That's the time where a lot of anxiety is there. Okay, there's a lot of anxiety and doubt, and it's also the time where we should definitely seek some help. Okay, because this is the time where we'll like not really understand why it is that the breakup happened. Why did the breakup happen in the beginning? Are you being honest with yourself, or are you putting up a front, a facade? Are you telling other people, oh, I don't know, like I'm the best thing since sliced bread, I'm a prize, I'm all of that? Yes, while you may be, that's true, but also at the same time, there are things that we do in a relationship. We do that's hurtful. It's the times where you were maybe taking them for granted. Okay? Maybe those were the times where you should have showed up. You should have showed some emotion. You should have listened to them. You should have been more respectful. Those are the times where you can't do anything about the past, but what you can do in your present is make that a part of you now. The more mature you, the more respectful, the person who is willing to take in knowledge, bring that to your next relationship. Level up. Okay, so don't stay in that bargaining stage too long where you start telling yourself, oh, I should have done this, and you question yourself, and was I good, and maybe I should have done this, and what if I would have done this, and I should have been a better man, I should have been a better woman, and what if I did this? That is going to do nothing but drive you crazy. Okay, so we have to allow ourselves to, yes, we'll be honest with ourselves, and we admit what we do. And this is the stage where we definitely need to be accountable. Be accountable for your actions. Yeah, I really messed up. Okay, I really hurt this person. I was immature. I was selfish. I was whatever it is. Put those cards on the table, because if you cannot assume what you have done in a relationship, you're going to bring it into every relationship, and not just romantic. We bring our issues from romantic into all relationships, because if you don't know how to be mature in a romantic relationship, you definitely don't know how to be a good friend. You definitely don't know how to be a good sibling. So once you learn maturity in a romantic relationship, learning to be accountable, learning to be honest, learning to be a person that can be depended on, and not just a person to be about yourself. Okay, unfortunately, sometimes I think everybody needs to learn to be less selfish, and just listen. Just listen to the person you're with and what they need. Because if they're asking you for something, you can't be like, I don't care. I don't care how you feel. Or just because something seems silly or stupid to you, it doesn't mean it's silly or stupid to another person. Estad says, difficult to be taken seriously as an adult. has no one take any type of accountability. Yes, that's a really serious one. Everybody has to take accountability for themselves, or it just won't work. Okay, let's get into stage 3 in the grief, the 5 stages of grief in a breakup, in a relationship, and how we can cope with it. Okay, the third stage, this is a tough one, and that is usually depression. Okay, and everybody is not going to be the same. This is not a one size fit all. Everybody does not go through all the steps, but I'm just stating what it usually is. Okay, so depression is something that happens after the reality. You've been through the denial, you've been through the anger, you've been through the bargaining, and now here's a time where reality sets in. Like, man, when you start seeing people show up as couples and be like, yeah, that should have been me, that should have been us, and look what I did for them, and all kinds of things. And then you sit there, you're sad, you're licking your own wounds, feeling sorry for yourself, and you can get very down and discouraged in this phase. This is the time where you must get up. Thank you so much, Boss Life Online, for dropping my member avatars. I appreciate it. This is the time where you definitely need to journal. This is the time where you really need to step into your faith. You need support during this stage of depression, because I don't care what anybody says, whether you're a man or whether you're a woman, everybody goes through a depression stage, a time where you're very, very sad. Hi, Kelly. How are you doing? Welcome. Everybody goes through a period of time where you're very, very sad, and you miss that person. You wish that it would have turned out a different way. I'm not saying you want to get back with them, but you just feel regret and sadness that it ended the way that it did. Okay, and that's okay. As humans, we are entitled to feel how we feel. And especially when you've invested years into a relationship, and it didn't work out the way that you wanted to or planned. Of course, that's going to make you feel down. Of course, you're going to feel some type of way. Of course, you're going to feel angry, and you're going to feel sad. You're going to feel lonely. You're going to feel all of those things, because we're human beings. We are not robots. But what is important, and during that time where you feel sad, don't neglect yourself. Get out and get back into you, getting into your life, getting into your passion. And this is the time period during this fourth stage where I like to say this is the time to reinvent yourself. When you are feeling the most down, I feel like this is when you have the most, you kind of like have hit, I wouldn't say rock bottom, but when you get to a low point, a low space, you have nothing to do but to look up. And I love this point in the relationship. Okay, and this is the time where you start getting back into you, reaffirming the love for yourself. I'm a great person, I'm amazing. Start talking about your talents, write them down, put them on sticky notes, put them in your phone. But it's very important in this stage to remember how important you are. Tap back into your gifts. What are the things that you do well? You need to remind yourself of that. Just because another person didn't see it, another person didn't want it, another person didn't deserve you, don't think that you don't possess great qualities. This is the time where you need to encourage yourself. I'm amazing. To all my ladies, remind yourself, I'm a queen. I'm beautiful. I'm smart. I'm intelligent. I do this. I do that. You start stating your talents, start stating your gifts, and remind yourself. It's very important during this stage to not think that I'm only good if I'm in a relationship. Okay, whether you're in a relationship or you're not in a relationship, you still have worth. You still have value. You are valuable all on your own. And a lot of times we lose ourselves. We lose ourselves in a relationship. And while, it's a wonderful thing to be in a relationship and to have a loving partner, but at the same time, when you're not getting it, when you're sticking in there through those hard years and you're not feeling fulfilled and happy and satisfied, blah, 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 it's hard for you to continue on. Yes, journaling is very good. It's very good. It's very important for us to get what is in here out. And I can't tell you how journaling literally was saving my life, because we don't always can always put it into words sometimes and talk to another person and tell them how we're feeling, but you most definitely can write it. You may not want to share how you're feeling, because I know during this stage of that depression, you start thinking crazy thoughts. You start feeling very low, low self-esteem, low confidence. This is the time where you need to really pour into yourself. Remind yourself of your worth. Really take care of yourself. See your doctor, your therapist. Have a circle of people who will build you up and lift you up and encourage you. This is so important in this stage of depression. Don't take it lightly. Oh, I'm just feeling sad. If it's been happening for a while and you've been, you could be a functioning depressed person. Okay, after a relationship, you could be functioning. You put on you're there and you go to work and you do this and you're around everybody and you're smiling, but inside you're not doing good. And you need to learn to look at yourself in the mirror and be honest with me. Be honest with you. I'm not doing good. I need some support. Don't be afraid to reach out to the people who really, I don't just mean any and everybody and telling everybody your business. No, I mean the people that you can trust, the people who has a track record of being there for you and supporting you. These are the ones that you lean on. These are the ones that you talk to. And during this stage when we're feeling down, we may not want to do a lot of talking, but you need to hear those affirmations of that you're valuable and you do this, and let's just hang out. I know you're not going to want to talk about the breakup. Who wants to talk about a breakup every time you see people that you care about? But you do need people that will raise you up and not make you feel like a schmuck. Okay? Not, oh, look at you. Oh, and whether you were the person that caused the end of the relationship or you're not inferior because you're by yourself. I want to remind you of that. Okay. Reela says, be cautious of who you reach out to. Definitely. Yes. Be cautious, very, very cautious. And that's why I said trusted people who, if you tell them, it's not going to be reported as news to all of your relatives, all your coworkers, everybody. You have to find people that you can say something to, and it's going to stay right there. Okay. Now, this is the last stage of the learning to cope with a breakup. Okay, and this is acceptance. And whether it was something new, whether it just happened and you had this bitter breakup, or whether it's been years. For some people, they just can't let go for years and years because that person brought them so much pain. And it depends on what the person did to you, why you broke up. It depends. It's not a one size fits all. And I'm not telling anybody, oh, you must get over this right now. No. You have to take your time. You have to process it. You have to take your time to heal. You have to take your time to be accountable. You have to get it out. You have to give yourself the permission. It's time for me to restart. It's time for me to try again. Maybe the way that I was doing was not healthy. This is the time after a breakup where you need to sit back and say, you know what? That was a very toxic relationship. That relationship was not good for me. That relationship was not supportive to me. Being honest in that time, it will stop us from repeating a very bad cycle of happening to us. Okay, Sirius says, Hebrews 12:15, watch out that no poisonous root of bitterness grows up to trouble you, corrupting many. Yes, I love that, Sirius. Thank you so much. Hey, Reigning Woman, how are you doing? Welcome. Appreciate you being here. Happy Thursday to you. And this is the time where it's so important, Motivators family, the acceptance part. The acceptance, accepting it. And not that we're going to accept it with a smile like, oh, I'm happy we broke up. Sometimes, don't get me wrong. Sometimes a breakup can be the best thing that ever happened to you. That breakup can give you wings to fly. That breakup can help you to turn your pain into your power. That's one of the things that happened for me. Breakup was the best thing to happen to me, because I think when you go through being taken advantage of for so long, not being seen and not being cared for, not being respected emotionally, not being supported, with what you're going through and need, that the breakup is the best thing to happen to you. It may take some time. That's normal. But then one day you're going to be like, I'm free. I'm free to do what I want. I'm free to do what I like. I'm free to get into my gifts, and use my gifts, use my talents, and to be my best self. Okay? Laughing about a breakup is evil. Well, East, I'm just being honest. Sometimes it applies, because there are some of the things that some people do to others that is heinous, is disgusting. So I think sometimes laughing after a breakup is very appropriate, because I always say what goes around comes around, and I want to say that to anybody who needs to hear it. Okay? I want to say that to anybody who needs to hear it. Sometimes that breakup is exactly what we need. It's exactly what you need. So don't hold your head down. Don't stay down. Don't sit there complaining about what was. Get into your today. Okay? Real says depends. Yes. Raining Woman says, looking back, breakups show me how I was out of the will of God, and then I get other lessons. Yeah, I always look at a breakup as it's a teaching lesson. It's a teaching moment. It's how we discover our purpose. For me, my breakup was what showed me, like, what are you doing? You're wasting your time. Why aren't you using your talents? And when you're under this, under the thumb of a very, I don't know, it's just a very unhealthy, a very toxic relationship, you can't get the clarity to go after your passion, because all you're doing is, what you call it, she said you have no cojones. When you don't give yourself the permission to let people go, you will never get to learn about what am I good at, And I can say for me, I can't say for everybody. It's in my breakup I discovered my gifts that were laying dormant for such a long time. It's always been there. For me, the motivation was always inside of me. And I used my pain and turned it into my power. So instead of me being in the stage of staying discouraged, staying down, I chose to talk about the pain, talk about the hurt, talk about, the disappointments, and just be honest, okay? Yeah, it hurts. Yeah, you're going to cry. Yeah, you're going to be sad. But then one day you're going to wake up and be like, I'm free. I'm free. And I think this is the time when you start saying, I'm free, when you're happy, when you're not thinking about that person all day. You have released it, and I believe this is a time where you're ready to get into another relationship. When you've healed, when you've processed, when you've talked about it, when you've worked on yourself, when you've restarted, reset, when you've done the work on yourself, because whether the breakup was mutual or whether it was one-sided, and whatever the case may be, we have to discover a way to move on with our life. We have to find a way. Okay, this is not the end for me, that this relationship is not going to end me. I'm not a bad person. I'm not a bad woman. You're not a bad man. Just because of the breakup, we just may have things that we need to work on. And this is a great time for us to find out what we need to work on and to be our best. This channel is all about elevation, maturity, mindset shifting, all of those things. So maybe at the time you were in a relationship and you didn't have high self-esteem, and then after the relationship you learn to love yourself. I feel like that's the blessing of the breakup. It teaches us something if you pay attention. See, a lot of people don't pause long enough to pay attention. What can I learn from this? How can I grow? And you discover how strong you are, how courageous you are, and you give yourself the opportunity to renew, reinvigorate. Okay, get into your passions, get into your gifts, love on yourself, and respect yourself. Okay, respect yourself, because at the end of the day, if you stay in a relationship with somebody and they didn't respect yourself, they don't encourage you and support you in your dreams, they didn't deserve to be there in the beginning. Okay, so it's all of those things. Let's see if I missed any comments. I don't see any comments. I hope that this topic was very supportive for you, Sirius. I hope it gave you everything that you needed, and everybody else who was in the chat. I hope you received some support, some encouragement. And to all of you that has ever been through a terrible breakup, whether it's now, whether it was years ago, be patient with yourself. Okay, we're human, and sometimes we feel that we're over it, and then you go right back, and then you may have that sad day, that depressed day. It's going to come in waves, but it's okay. Give yourself the permission and tell yourself, I give myself the permission to feel sad. I give myself the permission to feel X, Y, and Z, but give yourself a time limit. I like to set an alarm. Set an alarm. I'm going to let myself cry for 30 minutes, and then it's time to get up and do something with my day. So do things with limits. Then get up, put yourself together, hold your head up. And I want you to say to yourself, I'm worth it. I'm worth it, not because I'm with somebody. I'm worth it because I'm me. Okay? And that's something that I reminded myself after a terrible breakup. I had to remind myself, because a lot of times we get lost in the relationship, lost in the person, lost in their goals, lost in their dreams, that we stop doing ours because we're supporting them. We're helping them. We're doing all of these things because we think we're such a good and kind person, a supportive person. But then it ends, okay? So don't stop doing what you need to do for you. This is about, how do we move on? How do we fortify ourselves? Read some positive material, okay? Read some positive material. Encourage yourself. Affirm it. Have a support system around you. And if it was a traumatic relationship, especially if it was some sort of abusive, verbal abuse, physical abuse, financial abuse, if there was a lot of things that was very toxic in the relationship, you need to get some help. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't make like you're weak, nothing like that. It means that you are aware. It means that you love yourself. Part of loving yourself is accepting what happens to us and not denying it, and then finding a way to have the right tools to get through it and to process it. Yes, Sirius. Sirius says, I'm worth it because I'm me and I am enough. Yes, Sirius, and everybody in the chat, you are worth it because you are enough. We are not because 1 + 1, because I'm with this person, I'm enough. No, we are enough all on our own. I want you to remember that as you go through your day. Give yourself time. Be patient with yourself. Get out there. Go after your goals and your dreams and heal. And then get up over and over again. Rinse and repeat. Remind yourself, I am enough. I can get through this, okay? You have value. I want you to remember that. I know that you're going to feel sad. You're going to feel down. You're going to feel angry. But one day, You're going to have both feet on a steady, solid ground once again. And you're going to feel good. You're going to feel grateful that you're no longer in the toxicity. Okay. And then hopefully one day you're going to find a person that is going to be a million times better than the one that you broke up with, because it's not worth it to stick in a unhealthy, a toxic relationship. You need to be with somebody that will appreciate you, someone who will be supportive, encouraging, somebody who will make you laugh, okay? Somebody who will be there for you, and you don't have to always tell them what you want, okay? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thank you, Sirius, for the topic suggestion. You know how we're doing over here. Once we get super stickers on the channel, then I'm going to do a live stream for the person who gives a super sticker. That's what we're doing now. So shout out to all my channel members. I appreciate each and every one of you. We're going to do a channel member live for the Love Channel Member Show. I'm going to go live. I'm going to talk about each and every one of my channel members. So that's going to be coming on next week. So I look forward to that. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Shout out to all my amazing moderators. And if they are a content creator, go by. Check out their channels. They're all amazing. All my moderators, drop the link to your channel, because if you see somebody in blue and they are one of my moderators, it's because they're a good person, they have great content, and they're very supportive. And I thank each and every one of them. You, every single person, hold your head up. Have confidence in you and love on yourself. Love on yourself. You are enough. You are enough, and you are worth it. Okay? And one day you can find somebody who will say that you are worth it. It will all be worth it in the end. I'm Marlene of Marlene Motivates, and I am your life coach. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching in the replay, hit the like, subscribe to this channel, leave me a comment in the comment section below, and join my channel membership. It starts at $1.99. Thank you guys so much. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and I will see my members back on Thursday. Next Thursday, I'm gonna do a member shout out, and we're just gonna chat all that. It's gonna be in the public, so I'll see you guys there. Thank you guys so much for your support, and Sirius, thank you so much for your suggestion. Everybody have a great rest of your day.